I have Juliette Samson with me today. Juliette, you are a powerhouse. I'm just gonna say it straight off the bat. You've done so much, you have seen so much, you've lived through so many different things. I mean, I this is gonna sound bad, but I don't think a millennial today will be able to understand half of the things that you have gone through in your entire life. And that's just, being very blunt with it. But I know you've done incredible things. You've survived a lot of things. Thank you first and foremost for just writing the chapter in Empowering Women in STEM, sharing your story with us, helping us to document, your journey and what you would have experienced because I think a lot of times a lot of people may not know and may not even be aware of some of the things that people around us have gone through. So I am so glad that, first of all, you took the time to write it because I know it takes a lot of time to get these things done, and to put it into words and to get it out there. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Tanya, I just want to say that I am the one who's very appreciative.
Oh, good.
It was an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
that I have to think about because of the work that went into it,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to tell you, it has been one of the best experiences.
I'm so glad to hear that.
You are an amazing person to pull together so many extraordinary women
Mm-hmm.
with so many very interesting stories. And because we're human and individual, we have our own personal stories. And if I was younger, I would be so happy to learn from all these
Mm-hmm.
stories. And so it is such an honor and such a blessing, and I'm so humbled of the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say thank you. And you're amazing for doing it. This is book three, and I know
Yes.
you're doing more. And it is fantastic for our youth, and our
Yes.
youth needs this. Let me tell you, especially
Yeah.
more today than ever.
Oh my gosh, yes, because I know today we're so accustomed with instant culture. Like we think things happen like that. But they don't. It
Um,
takes a lot of tenacity and triumph, which I know is the title of just part of the title of your chapter, but you have definitely been through it all. So tell us a little bit about what you do now. Like what is
So,
a day
I
with you?
am continuing. So, thanks for asking, but I think I'm continuing the journey
Mm-hmm.
in helping and empowering others.
Yes.
I have stopped my operational role, although I'm constantly being asked for opportunities. And actually, Monday, I'm talking to somebody about an opportunity. But I'm really not interested in doing more operational work.
Mm-hmm.
I am much more interested in obviously board work because
Mm-hmm.
that allows us to take this wealth of experience and time, which you could be very, very bright, but time and experience
Mm-hmm.
is something you can't get faster than
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
You can't speed up time. And so, being in boards and being in advisory roles, I think are just that, helping
Mm-hmm.
companies with the experience and the know-how that we've seen across
Right.
verticals, across industries, across different functions. So that's really what I'm doing now, and I want to do more of. So if anybody's listening to
Yeah.
this and has some amazing board role, please do reach out.
Oh yeah, and she is really good. Trust me. She brings a lot of experience with her. So
Thanks.
she's definitely somebody you want to look out for. And tell me a little bit about why you wanted to write the chapter, because I know in the chapter you mentioned a lot of different things, but you also mentioned your daughter Andrea. So tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
her journey, your journey, everything involved in that.
sure. So, just to address the question of why I wanted to write a chapter. So, it's not
Hmm.
something I've ever really thought of,
Yeah,
but you came into my life at the right time.
that's good.
And I am thrilled that I did this. And looking
Hmm.
back, I feel like I leave a legacy. I leave
Hmm.
something that's written. I leave something for my children, hopefully
Right.
for my grandchildren.
Hmm.
So it really feels good. So I'm
Right.
very, very happy that I did it.
Good.
Truly, Sonia, I'm very, very happy that I did it. And why I did it, it's a time in my life where
Mhm.
I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, there's so many things that, we went
Mhm.
through and that we've done. And I don't know, honestly, how we did them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I wrote it down
Yeah.
and I structured it.
Yes.
But sometimes when you go through things,
Hmm.
you don't have a choice. You just do it,
You just go
right?
through.
You do it, God gives you certain strengths, certain
Hmm.
capabilities, certain hardships, and you don't ask questions, why
Yeah.
me and why like this and why like that. You just simply do it.
Yep.
And look at the next step and always the
Hmm.
next step and always ahead. And that was always my thing of always look ahead and never
Yep.
back. This was a moment where I could kind of think about what happened in
Hmm.
my life and look back
Yeah.
and say, how did I do it? And how do I tell others on the fact that absolutely you can be a mother, you can
Hmm.
be a wife, you can be a woman, you can
Hmm.
be an executive
Yep.
all at the same time. No, it's not easy, but it's definitely doable. And if you
Hmm.
have that desire, then it's doable. And I
Yeah.
want to encourage people. So that's the reason I wrote the book. I wanted to leave
Hmm.
some information for my children and
Yep.
hopefully for my grandchildren.
Hmm.
And I also wanted to honor my parents. I'm
Yes.
sure you remember our
Hmm.
conversation. I am who I am because of what
Yep.
they created and did. And I wanted to honor them. Unfortunately, they have passed, but
Hmm.
nevertheless, I believe that it's worth honoring them
It
and
is.
also showing my children that this is important.
Hmm.
Um, as far as my daughter, so my whole chapter is around triumph and
Hmm.
tenacity and
Yes.
triumph. The reason of the title truly is because there have been hardships, and
Hmm.
everybody has them. I'm
Yep.
not unique, but they're different hardships.
Hmm.
And mine was raising a daughter who had a chronic illness, and
Right.
although she's doing fantastic as a human being, she has a chronic illness.
Right.
And because I'm in United States,
Hmm.
and I'm surrounded by medical opportunities, she's thriving,
Nice.
and she's doing fine. If I was back in my old country,
Hmm.
and I will say Romania, which was at that time communist, or Europe, to be honest,
Right.
Andrea wouldn't be alive today.
Hmm.
So Andrea has a kidney transplant, and she got one at age of 14 from her dad
Hmm.
because she has an immune deficiency and an immune issue.
Right.
And 6 years later, she needed a second kidney. And I donated her the second kidney, and I
Right.
went through the entire process. But during the last piece, which was the MRI, they found a tumor on my kidney, and I ended up at Sloan Kettering, and they
Oh
removed
boy.
it. So she
Hmm.
saved me. And I just
Hmm.
want to say that when you donate an organ, you go through extensive
Right.
medical exam.
Hmm.
Doesn't hurt you. It's a blood
Yeah.
exam. It's just
Hmm.
taking blood. But it's very, very thorough. And then ultimately there's a MRI to figure out
Right.
which kidney they may want to take. And so a lot of donors who couldn't donate for whatever
Yeah.
reason that they found, their lives were saved. So my life was
Right.
saved, but
Nice.
Andrea's wasn't. So
Hmm.
we went out and we were looking for an altruistic donor, and we were extremely blessed with a
Right.
nurse who lived in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who wanted to donate, and she was a match. And Andrea
Okay.
got a second kidney at age of 20.
Right.
This kidney lasted her 10 years.
Wow.
July 31st of 2025 is 10 years.
Wow.
And she was told she needs a third kidney.
Oh.
So it's been tough. And
Hmm.
as far as the book is concerned in my life, it's just tough to raise somebody
Hmm.
with this kind of issues, right? Because when you travel or when you
Yep.
when you work late hours or whatever, you always have to think about your children. And
Yep.
I had a support structure. I had a husband who has been a fantastic father and is a fantastic
Hmm.
father. And so I had support, but it was
Right.
hard,
Yeah.
right? And I needed to have work environments that sometimes understood,
Yep.
I have to go to a transplant because my
Hmm.
daughter's in surgery or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Of course, nothing was missed as far as my
Mm-hmm.
performance,
Right.
but I needed that environment. So anyway, Andrea
Mm-hmm.
needs a third kidney. She is a first responder for over 11 years, saved
Wow.
many, many lives already.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for someone to step up and save her.
Yeah.
And so, I shared with you some information, but
Yeah.
if anybody's listening to this and would like to donate a kidney, they can donate directly to her if their blood type is A or O.
Okay.
Um, and um, and they can contact me and you can
Right.
provide information, Sonia, in
Yes.
terms of how they can. But anyway, we have been very, very blessed, I think, and I think we're going to end up being very
Yes.
successful because in addition to the situation, because she's a first responder, we have a lot of support from
Nice.
newspapers, from ABC, from other televisions. We're trying to get her on other TV
Good.
broadcasts, billboards to get the word out.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
important to get that word out because you can actually help save a life by donating or really just anything that you can donate. And I know I will drop some links in this video to the bottom in the comment section. Just ways that you can help Andrea during this process. And always, feel free to reach out to Juliet at any point in time. Like she can tell you a little bit more about the process just because she went through it and
yes.
it first-hand knowledge of that. So, I'm so glad you shared that information as well.
Yeah. So, I highly encourage people to read the chapter.
hmm
And I'm sure every single chapter in this book is amazing. I've read several of them. But I encourage people to buy the book. It's very affordable and
hmm
to share it with their children and their grandchildren because
Yes.
I think it's really good for people. I would say it's good for anyone, but I think
Yeah.
people between 18 and 25, it's particularly good
hmm
because it gives them a sense of how to get ahead
hmm
and how to get over difficulties and always look ahead and never look
Yeah.
back and don't question, just figure out how to get things done.
Yeah,
So I encourage
definitely.
people to read the chapter and the book itself.
Oh yeah, Juliet has like an amazing chapter because she actually documents some of the things that she went through during her journey to get to the US and even while she was in the US, just that, different phases of her career. And I think it's very quite interesting the things that you've lived through, like I said before, without giving away too much information about the chapter. Um, you've done such an incredible job with that. And
Well,
I know like like your background is highly STEM, a lot of things that you've done involve STEM. How would you encourage more people to get involved in STEM? Like even the younger
yeah.
people who are still deciding if that's for them or not, or people who are in different fields right now and they're thinking about doing that switch over.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good comment and a good question. So, just to go back to your earlier comment, yes, I did come from Europe and it was a journey to get
Yeah.
here to United States. And I think it's very relevant today because we
hmm
have so many, discussions around immigration
Yeah.
and globalization and all of that. So I think it's interesting to see that it's sometimes not that simple to come to a country like United
Yeah.
States, and that also influence on who I am.
Yeah.
But as far as going into the sciences and STEM, so I was very fortunate because I was a child of two scientists and two physicists. And sometimes people, are not raised that way. They're raised as, with parents that are business people, or
hmm
they have other careers like medicine, which I think
Right.
is also
Yeah.
amazing, and attorneys and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So or plumbers, right?
Yeah.
So the
We need
question
them.
is, how do you know, how do you get into STEM and why is that important and why is the science important? And so, if you're a person of logic, right? If you
Mhm.
like logic, if you understand, and I don't want to use fancy words like analytics
Oh,
because
yeah.
analytics comes from logic, but if you're a logical person and you're an organized person, I think that science is very, very suited for your
Mhm.
personality. And it may not be suited for everyone. So you do
Yeah.
have to figure out, what's suited for you. But if you're logical, and you like mathematics,
hmm
and if you like um, things that kind of make sense and go
Right.
together well, and puzzles and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, I think the sciences is a very good place to be, and it will always bring you an income.
Yeah.
So again, I was raised that, yes, I should do things that I like and that I love, but I also should be able to make money and support a family.
Mm-hmm.
And that was important. And so I was thinking, what's a good career? And I do
Yeah.
think that a career in the sciences will get you that. And almost anything in the sciences. We're growing in AI, we're growing in automation,
Yeah.
we're growing in space
Yeah.
space knowledge. We're
Yeah.
growing in
Definitely.
medical research
Mm-hmm.
through science, through automation.
Yep.
And so the opportunities are huge. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an engineer
No.
in a certain vertical. It could be in
Mm-hmm.
any vertical, right? It
Mm-hmm.
could be in finance. You could be a scientist in finance, right? To
Yeah.
do analysis and economics. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of ways to go. And what's important is to get a good education,
Mm-hmm.
right, on logic and on the basic elements of science. And
Yeah.
then life takes you,
Yep.
because whatever you want to be, the line is never direct. It's always
No.
kinky. And your opportunities come by putting yourself in the situations
Mm-hmm.
that perhaps others don't want to be, and you do, and you
Yeah.
get opportunities that way. So, I'm very encouraging, but again, it has to fit something that you
Mm-hmm.
like. Because if you're an artist,
Yeah.
right, or you're a movie maker, or you like some other things, then, maybe that's a better career. So not everybody
Yeah.
can be in STEM or should be in STEM, because we need that variety. We're all
Mm-hmm.
different, so we
Yes.
need that
Yes,
variety.
we
But
do.
but if you have any interest in numbers and in logic, and in science, and if you're a curious person, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a great area, and it gives you a very wide breadth of
Mm-hmm.
options.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, Juliet, thank you so much for everything that you do
Thank you.
and for constantly encouraging others and the future generation and everything that you're doing right now with Andrea. You're doing, I know there's a lot of back end work involved in that. So,
Yes.
it's a lot. So thank you for making sure that, we got all of that information and I will drop some notes in it at the end of this recording and make sure that we can try and do what we can to help support as much as possible. But I'm so grateful for everything that you've done and for leading the way and pioneering all these different things. Very proud of you for making those steps and those, conquering those challenges and continuing to do so. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for that.
And thank you for the opportunity, Sonia. It's really amazing. Appreciate it a great deal.
Always my pleasure. So if you haven't read Juliet's chapter yet, you're missing out on quite a lot. Empowering Women in STEM, book 3. Make sure you check it out. Thank you so much, and we'll see you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.